Louis Webster, Aaron Howe, Mikey Schuker and Mark Evans. A really full grid. And Joe Dickinson with that sort of qualifying pace. The next fastest lap behind him was 9/10 of a second off the pace. Is Joe Dickinson set to dominate?
Judging from previous races, I'm going to say no. This has always been a very closely fought battle. Pete Ward, Chris Weston, Dane Blackburn, Joe Goggins, even Ty Kinton, Gaz Roberts and Charlie Herons we've seen challenging for race wins previously this year. I'd say Dickinson will have a job in his hands.
This could get quite spicy. The final first race of the weekend, as it were, before we go round again and we will deal with the second half of the field. I tell you what, these classes have absolutely flown by, haven't they? Once we finally got the ball rolling.
They have. It's been a good first set of races. Hopefully it'll continue through the afternoon.
Now hang on, that's the 4 off to the side a little bit. That is that's Hugh Jones, isn't it? The number 4 off to the side. Just getting himself back into position once again. Or either that or somebody borrowing that bike. The 23 just getting himself into position. That's Joe Goggins alongside the 56 on that third row. And that is Ty Kinton. Dickinson, Ward, Weston, Blackburn, Goggins, Kinton, Roberts, Herons, Humphreys and William Lawrence Wardall. Go! What a start from the second row for the 57. And that's through to the lead. Brilliant start from Chris Weston.
Oh, we got 2 riders off.
2 riders down on the first corner. 2 riders down behind them, but Weston through into the lead, so that's a perfect getaway for the 57. Oh, second and third are down as well. Absolute carnage on this first lap. And somehow they're going to keep going. Red flag, red flag. We're at red flag because one of the riders at the first corner has yet to get up. So this is going to be a red flag. That is a safety precaution first. So understandable, really. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see that on the live pictures, but it happened in front of our position on the commentary box, Jacob. That was a little bit of a hairy one.
Yes, the rider's gone down clutching his arm. The medical car has been dispatched. 2 riders off at the first corner, 2 riders off at Christmas on that one.
I think one of the riders is Michael Ferrada, the 276. I could be mistaken there, just trying to judge numbers from a distance. It's certainly a green, white and red machine, the red numbers. Well, that bike is going to come towards us and we're going to figure out who it is that's on that particular bike. Chris Weston, though, definitely getting an amazing start. Let's have a look. Is that 17? I think you could be right, actually. Yes, that is 17. We'll double check, but yes.
Strange font.
It is a very strange font. I think it's the 117, actually. I think that's Luke Bithell.
No, it's a 47.
Oh, it's a 47. Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, that font has really thrown me.
Right, now, there's a 470, so I think that's got to be Aaron Howe, hasn't it? If it's the 470, because we've got a 47 bike, but I don't see a number 47 in the field. So if that's a 470, then that's Aaron Howe.
Yes.
Now the officials are there. The rest of the riders have brought it onto the start-finish straight. I didn't see who the other bike was, actually. So there were 2 bikes involved in that one. The other rider, I couldn't quite see who that was. We'll try and double-check as they come through. It's the red and white helmet on the top with the blue and yellow insignia. Just making their way towards us. Now, who is that coming back on the bike? Well, they've all pulled off on the start-finish line, just chatting away. What happened there? Did you see? No, I didn't see a thing. I was too busy watching you, mate.
I'd very much like to see a replay of Christmas Corner if we've got it.
Yeah, that was
someone in the production office is listening.
That was a very interesting moment, actually, and nobody was hurt in that one. They all managed to get going again. So let's see if we can have a look at that manoeuvre on the first lap at Christmas while we're under red flags, because that got very interesting indeed behind Chris Weston. Gary Webster has just sent us a nice little message there. Smoke 'em, dude, doing a fantastic job on that first lap. Chris Weston really making light work of it. Okay, let's have a look. Now it's 2 riders down together. That was a little bit of a clip. That was
third place clipped second and collected 4th, I believe.
That was.
Another view would be great, James, since it seems like you are listening.
Now the 114 has walked in. That is Dane Blackburn. I have a feeling that was Dane who got caught up in that.
Here we go.
Let's see if we can. This is the start, so we're going to have a look up the straight for that fall. Down at the back, are we going to get to see it? No, not quite. But here we go. We're going to get the run up to Christmas. So it's Chris Weston who's leading. Oh, right. Oh, I wanted to see that, really. I wanted to see if that carried on in slow motion. Because
they're in 10-second chunks, so that would have been the first 10 seconds. And,
I see. Well, we got
10 seconds what we're after.
We got that bike figured out at the front there. Oh, here we go. Now Weston is leading. So here we go. Let's slow it right down if we can. Weston coming towards us in the lead. Diving up the inside, that is the 48 of Joe Dickinson. 48. And that's where the contact happened. So into the back of Dickinson. I think that was
Dane Blackburn,
and I think he took, well, it's either Pete Ward or Joe Goggins that was in the mix there with him, but unfortunately it was the 114 of Dane Blackburn that went down at Christmas Corner. Nobody hurt in that particular incident. We've obviously got that little shunt up at the first corner. We assume that it was the 470 of Aaron Howe that went down there at the first corner, but we are under red flags, and obviously the medical team is doing exactly as they should do. Correct procedure. Once again, very tough race weekend this is only the first rotation of the races for each class, and we have already had 3 red flags.
Yes, all I will say is hopefully the riders who have managed to recover are allowed to restart, especially those 2 at the front.
Is it 4 now, actually, red flags? I'm trying to remember how many.
Well, we had the initial one, which was
that was the hour.
Dowley. Yeah. And then Luke Westerman?
Yes, Luke Westerman at the first corner on the second heat. I think we've had one more since then, actually, red flags. I'm trying to remember who we had. Because I'm fairly sure we had a 4th one. So, an interesting battle with the racers in position. Please don't throw water bombs. Calm me down. Sorry, we've got the spectators threatening to do all sorts to me. It's absolutely fine. I'll get your number soon, Sunshine. Anyway, it's a fantastic day at the race. I have to say, it's been a very pleasant paddock to come into for the first time. There's so many great characters already that I feel another invitation in 2019. And I could get to know quite a few of these wonderfully charming, nice ladies and gentlemen. The red flag is there. Alan Lord is just letting the riders on that grid know the ins and outs of what's happening. And just letting them know. I can tell you that the rider in question that was down at the first corner is up. And they are having a conversation with him. So obviously they have to make sure that correct procedure is adhered to. If a rider goes down and they don't get up, you obviously have to make sure that the correct safety procedure is followed. Now, Steve Boyd has made an interesting comment on Facebook, which is actually something that is adhered to in most parlance of car racing, which is stop riders that cause the red flag from restarting. Now, that is what actually happens in car racing and kart racing rather a lot in various different championships. They do say in the rule books, particularly in sports car racing and touring car racing, whoever is the cause of the red flag will not restart the race. Now, that's what Steve Boyd is suggesting. That's not the way we do things here, but that is a rule that could be considered for the future, I guess.
Yeah, but then you get into the territory of, was it someone's fault or was it a racing incident, and if you can clearly say this person was to blame and has caused the red flag and would gain an advantage from restarting, then perhaps there is a call for that. But when it's too close to call and it's a racing incident, I guess you have to give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, the thing is there are 2 schools of argument on that one, aren't there? You could side with the rider who is down because maybe it wasn't their fault, or you could side with the rest of the opposition because, is that rider who's been cause of the red flag, if they've had a nasty knock, then could they potentially be a hindrance to the rest of the riders? Could he not quite be in the right frame of mind? It's a difficult one, particularly with this particular class of racing, because the racing is all about being friendly, having fun, enjoying the sport. And that's a bit of a grey area. That becomes perhaps a little bit too official.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. At club level motorsport, it's about getting people out on track, isn't it? It's
yeah, I mean, 99 times out of 100, as long as the rider can get up, their limbs are still connected to the right joints. And if you can ask them what date it is and they can tell you it's Sunday the 5th of August, then I think, it should fairly be all right, as long as they still look human-shaped.
Well, I'd forgive them for not knowing the date. It's August already, and it feels like Christmas was yesterday.
And in this heat, yeah,
Exactly.
do you know what? In this heat, I probably couldn't even remember my middle name if I had leathers on helmet on as well. So,
if I took a knock to the head and someone woke me up in this heat, I'd assume I was in Spain or Portugal. So yeah,
good point. Well made.
There's a few of those go-to concussion questions. Theresa May's looking a bit dodgy as Prime Minister as well. It wouldn't surprise me if she's been usurped in the time we've been in the commentary box.
Well, the story that I always go with if there's been a nasty accident is that please don't shoot me down in flames, because I am a car commentator predominantly. But there was a Formula One accident a few years ago in 1996 at the Australian Grand Prix involving
a few years, yes.
Martin Brundle had a massive off at the first lap of the Australian Grand Prix, and they thought he was dead initially. But he climbed out from under the car and was perfectly okay. He ran all the way back to the end of the pit lane and found Professor Sid Watkins, and he said, "Can I start the race?" And Professor Sid Watkins said, "I know you're okay because I just watched you run the entire length of the pit lane. What's the date?" And he said, 8th of March. "Yeah, you're fine. Get in the car." And that was that. So now they're getting ready to restart the race on the bikes. The incident is being cleared at the first corner.
They still haven't moved the car yet. It's surprising they started their engines before.
Well, the rider in question is in the back of the car,
yes.
and they're going to move that medical car any second now. So the thing is, we've already had a few stoppages, so I think they just want to get things run efficiently and smartly. So the riders are going to be allowed the opportunity to go around again. Now, the question is, how many of them will take up the restart? I'm guessing all but one. And the reason for that one is obviously going to be Aaron, how we think. It's not been official. It's not made official, but I'm guessing that is going to be the reason for that particular stoppage. And in this particular case, that rider I don't think is going to take up the restart. So we'll have to see. We'll have to figure out what the solution to that one is. But certainly the spectators are now starting to make their way more over to the first corner because they want to see these battles. And obviously we're getting to the business end of the meeting. The first race is one thing, but everybody really excited to see the second race. They get sent around for their exploratory lap. Now Steve Boyd has also made an interesting point on that debate we were having. He said the other side of the coin is if you stay down and get a red flag, you get another go, and some will try that trick. So it's going to be a 7-lap restart this one. Oh, sorry. A 6-lap restart, my apologies. So 6 laps for the restart.
I swear he was holding up 7 fingers.
Oh, I don't know.
6 or 7?
It's 6 or 7. We'll find out when they come around the end of the first lap.
They'll go around the track a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly. They'll come around a few times and that'll be that. I don't mean to sound unprofessional. I really don't. So this is my first time in BMB. I'm loving it, I have to say. The racing has been absolutely fantastic. I'm still absolutely on the A game in terms of entertainment factor. So the riders are going to be in their same positions. It'll be Joe Dickinson and Pete Ward from the front. Chris Weston hoping to have yet another superb getaway. That is the 119 of Charlie Herons going around in behind the 32 bike of Pete Ward. They will obviously line up on their actual grid positions. They can go around on the formation lap in any order they like. Oh, that was a bit of a showmanship moment there for the 414, I think that was, of William Lawrence Wardle. Someone's going to tell me I'm wrong. I probably was. Oh, apparently Steve Carding's just gone down. So, oh, Carding went down. That's what it was. So, I was reading one of the messages from Gina Bewley, I think that was. So the yellow flag's out of the final turn as the riders are in position. 500 on the grid, on that second row of the grid. Now, who's on the 500 bike? Well, 32 Pete Ward lines up in position. Is that a different bike for Dane Blackburn? There's the 48, Joe Dickinson, taking up his residency on the front row. And it was Joe Dickinson, it was a different rider. Dane Blackburn is now on the 500, not the 114.
Okay.
So we'll have to try not to get completely and totally... I'll not have to get confused by that one, but the 500 is in fourth, and that's Dane Blackburn by the look of it. Green flag is up! And are we going to go racing? Yes, we are! Cracking start from the second row again for Western, but not as good as the first time of asking. And as they go through Crook and Oblivion, it's getting a little bit heated through the midfield. A couple of riders running wide, but as they come up the hill, it is going to be a move up the inside there from Pete Ward for the lead as they go through Christmas hairpin. Ward is going to take the lead. No, he's not. Dickinson back in front. So it's Dickinson, Ward and Weston as they battle for position. Dane Blackburn there in fourth place on the 500. An absolutely terrific getaway and a little bit of a wheelie off the turn there from Joe Dickinson in front of Pete Ward. Come on, Pesky, says Amy Chambers.
Yes, great start from all the riders there. Almost uniform. Pete Ward quick off the line, but up the hill, Joe Dickinson holds his lead.
This is going to be quite an intriguing battle as the top four have kept their positions on the whole. Looking around the first lap, no catastrophes, but it's Dickinson, Ward, 57 is Weston, then it's Blackburn from Kinton, Goggins, Roberts, Heerans, Humphreys, Flanagan and Lawrence Wardle in front of Luke Bithell. Up they come once again to the braking zone for Christmas. No change up front. Dickinson still leads Ward. Then it is Chris Weston in front of Dane Blackburn, who's showing as the 114, but he's borrowed the 500 bike. And he's got some pressure from Ty Kinton. Ty Kinton's looking fairly threatening as they come off of Ashby up towards Parker into the left-hander.
We finally got the rubber agreement with the transponders as well. Everyone's seeming to be ticking along nicely. Dickinson, Ward and Weston at the top.
So here they come up towards the boot once again. Riders continuing to put in a strong challenge as they run around the circuit in fine formation again. Dickinson your leader, Ward second, Weston third, and up to fourth place now has come Ty Kinton. Kinton's made the move on Blackburn. Sixth place is Goggins from Roberts, Heerans, Flanagan and Bithell. Then it is Lawrence Wardle from Humphreys, Scott Larkin and Keir Armstrong ahead of Tom Lewis. So fourth position now, as we know, is Ty Kinton, and he is trying to close up on the top three. But Joe Dickinson is putting in that same sort of speed we saw in qualifying this morning.
Yeah, he's stretching his legs. Pete Ward trying to keep in touch, but he's probably going to have to worry about Chris Weston coming up behind him more than he's going to have to worry about an overtaking manoeuvre on Dickinson.
Oh, we've had an off at Ashby. Apologies. So someone is going to tumble down the timesheets. I couldn't quite see who that was, but we've had an off at Ashby. Dickinson out of the final turn, just disappearing out in front. Weston still putting Ward under pressure. Kinton ahead of Blackburn, who's now coming under threat from Joe Goggins. Roberts, Heerans. Who was it that went down in the middle of the lap? I think that was Ross Humphreys, who has got going again, the 67, but is now in there behind Sam Crooks. So
on your
good
screen,
battle going on.
Sorry, Jake, on your screens, Joe Goggins takes a look up the inside of Dane Blackburn. That's for fifth place in Christmas corner. Didn't quite pull it off though.
So Kinton in fourth position in front of Dane Blackburn and Joe Goggins. Gaz Roberts is not far away. Oh, we got two bikes down at Ashby. Two bikes down at Ashby. They've come together. Now, who is that? That is the 279 in that one. Now that is going to be, or is it the 219? So hard to read the numbers from there, unfortunately.
I think it's a 2.7. It might be Michael Ferrada. His transponder's not
Michael
working.
Ferrada's not transponding, so that is possible. We'll double check. They're trying to get the bikes going again. Oh, it is the 22, Keir Armstrong. So Keir Armstrong is one of them. Apparently Pete Ward and Chris Weston are struggling to transpond, but they are still going around. And yeah, there's several of them now that are not. I wonder if one of them is Callum Ricketts, actually. Oh, and straight on at Ashby. That's one of the top runners. So we've had somebody go straight on there at Ashby as we go into the final stages of the race. But Joe Dickinson is still looking neat and tidy out front.
Just to confirm, still in the top three is Chris Weston. You can see him on the screen there in third place. He's following second place man who's also dropping down. Is Pete Ward? Was it Pete Ward?
Ward and Weston are still second and third. Ward and Weston are still second and third. Then it is Kinton, Blackburn, Roberts, Heerans, Flanagan, Bithell, and Lawrence Wardle. Don't follow the timing screens. Up the inside, Blackburn is going to try the move on Ty Kinton for fourth position, and he's got a bit of a battle coming in there from Gaz Roberts. Trying to make his way on the inside. Is that going to be a dive from Roberts? No, he's got to hang back. A good little tussle this for fourth place on the final tour. But out in front, it is domination from Joe Dickinson in the 48, who's just got the bike nailed here. Out of the final turn comes our race leader, It is victory in fantastic style across the finish line for Joe Dickinson. Pete Ward in second place as he comes through. And then, of course, it is Chris Weston in third place. A great result. And Ty Kinton putting an absolutely fantastic display there to just, I think, pit Dane Blackburn. Well, there wasn't much between them, actually. I'd have liked to have seen that finish because I think they were side by side for fourth place. Great to see the riders all coming home. But it was Dickinson who took the victory by 5 seconds in the end from Pete Ward and Chris Weston. Then I think it was actually Blackburn who picked Kinton, but we need to double check on that one. 6 laps only, but plenty of great racing around the circuit here at Whilton Mill and some good highlights from that one. Joe Dickinson was just in his own zone out in front. Very similar from his qualifying performance. So that brings to an end the first race for each class. We're going to go into the second races next. This is the move from the 23 up the inside of Joe Goggins.
I mentioned earlier, yeah.
That was Goggins making a move, and then now to the final turn. That was the checkered flag flying for Joe Dickinson, Pete Ward, and Chris Weston. I couldn't quite see who, unfortunately, managed to pip for fourth place. I think on the timing screen it's gone to Dane Blackburn, just ahead of Ty Kinton by 0.083. But we'll obviously get official confirmation later. The South Coast Honda Superminis Ultimate in Group A. Can anybody stop the march of Joe Dickinson out front? So far, so good for Joe. But he's got a big battle behind him. The likes of Pete Ward, Chris Weston, Dane Blackburn, Joe Goggins and Ty Kinton, all within the mix there in the top 6. Then Gaz Robertson, Charlie Hearns, Ross Humphreys and William Lawrence Wardle. Scott Larkin and Keir Armstrong, Nathan Flanagan and Tom Lewis, Chloe Jones and Michael Ferrada, Rob Collier fighting his way forward, Luke Bithell, Callum Ricketts, Sam Crooks, Elliot Dufton, Louis Webster, Aaron Howe, Mikey Schuker and Mark Evans. So can Joe Dickinson be beaten, Jacob? It's a big ask.
It's a big ask, but I think the first race showed he's not untouchable. He was comfortable, yes, but not within reason that someone could challenge him for this one.
So the riders coming into position then for the final race of the weekend. And after this one, we really will be able to crown our kings and queens as they come into position. From the right side of the grid, Pete Ward, the 32, knows what he needs to do to beat Joe Dickinson. This race really can be won and lost at the start. So we will see how it goes. Into position goes Joe Dickinson, a nice little endo to get himself squared up. And that second row of the grid, we will see Dane Blackburn on his own bike again. They've got it sorted. And Chris Weston, second row of the grid alongside him to the inside line. Keep an eye as well on Joe Goggins and Ty Kinton on the third row. Here we go for the last time. Let's race at Whilton Mill. Bracket start from Weston. He's going to try and split them up the middle, but he's not going to make it. Up the inside, that is the lead from Pete Ward. Pete Ward has gone past Joe Dickinson. Dickinson's going to go right round the outside and take the position back again. Ward's going to commit to the inside, and that's nicely done from Dickinson. He takes the place back, and there's a great little tussle further back. Up to third position has come Chris Weston. Down to fourth, Dane Blackburn again.
Yes, excellent riding. All riders through safely.
That was very tough for Joe Dickinson. He almost lost the lead. So from Pete Ward's point of view, I so nearly had him. But into the boot. Pete Ward still able to try and hold on to Joe Dickinson, but in actuality, Joe Dickinson is now getting onto that bike and getting on with the march. There's a great run behind. That is the 56 of Ty Kinton trying to make the move on Dane Blackburn. Blackburn in fourth position. Kinton is there in fifth place, and Gaz Roberts on the 212 is next up. Here comes Chris Weston up the inside of Ward. That was very close in the braking zone. The 212 is there in sixth position. That's Gaz Roberts as he tries to close up on Ty Kinton, who is all over the back of Dane Blackburn. So it's as they were in the top 5. Gaz Roberts is still in the mix there in sixth, having got past Joe Goggins, who did not have the greatest of starts, unfortunately. We've got an off at turn 1. I'm not sure who that is that's not come through. But I wonder if that is Goggins, actually, the 23. We'll double check as they come through. But Dickinson is your leader. Then it is Ward, Weston. No problem at all for the 56 of Ty Kinton. Will continue as they charge their way through. Here comes the 212 of Roberts onto the back. The 212, I should say, of Gaz Roberts there on the back of the 57 of the 56, I should say. Weston is the 57. It's 56 is Ty Kinton. And there is the battle for second place behind Dickinson. Ward versus Weston. They continue to scrap for the spoils behind Joe Dickinson. Joe Dickinson's pushing so hard he actually had two wheels on the white line there, as Weston continues to dog the number 32 of Pete Ward. They come down the hill once again, and it's Dickinson leading. Ward second, Weston third. Fourth is the 56 now of Kinton, ahead of Blackburn and Gaz Roberts. Then it's the 23 and 119. That is Joe Goggins and Charlie Hearens. So some good running. I wonder if that bike that was off at the top end there was a 67 of Ross Humphreys, as again Ward is getting a massive punishment from Chris Weston. He's putting all sorts of pressure on him.
We've had 3 laps and Joe Dickinson has gone faster on each one of them. It's good to see that he's really having to work for that lead. Looking comfortable with a 2.2 second lead apron.
So 5 laps to go. Joe Dickinson on a 49.8 on the last lap compared to Weston in second place on a 57.8, and that's 276. Michael Ferrada has retired from the race, I'm afraid. He's just gone underneath our commentary box window. Dickinson is absolutely dominant out front. The yellow flags wave because the other bike is Ross Humphreys. So Ross Humphreys, I'm afraid, out of the race by the look of it, so he's not come through.
Pete Ward still held him off. Chris Weston, we're following. Chris Weston goes up the inside into Christmas. Has he made it stick? Yes, I think he has.
And further back, that is the 114 just about hanging on in there. But yes, Weston is through. He has got past Ward. Well spotted there, Jacob. As Weston has gone in a second position, as still Dane Blackburn doggedly hangs on to that 4th position spot in front of Ty Kinton, having taken the place back again. But Chris Weston is looking good for second place now. That is the 114 of Dane Blackburn, having got back past Ty Kinton. And 6th place is still the 212 of Gaz Roberts.
Yeah, it's an excellent race so far. What do you reckon, Jake? Can Chris Weston make an impression on Joe Dickinson?
Absolutely dominant from Joe Dickinson. Incredible to see him drive.
He's gone faster again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's astonishing. 49.834. There's a stationary yellow because of that bike at turn 1 still. I was just wondering if there was another incident, but no. Terrific stuff, though, from Dickinson. He really has command of the bike on this circuit. He's really, really good at it. Kinton still trying to battle his way forward to get away from Blackburn, but he needs to get back past him. Weston is riding a great race here. Weston really showing Pete Ward a clean pair of heels around the circuit as Joe Dickinson goes into the final 2 laps of the weekend.
Didn't set a fastest lap this time. Disappoints me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a rarity. And he still set a lap that was faster than anybody else's. 212 Gaz Roberts battling with Joe Goggins and Charlie Hearens. Will Lawrence Wardle is not far away from them. That's the 3 we're watching. Charlie Hearens trying to make a go of Joe Goggins up the inside nearly of the 212 of Gaz Roberts. Has to back out of it. A great little tussle for 6th place this. Is Goggins going to get an opportunity on Gaz Roberts? Charlie Hearens is waiting in case they do tussle, but it's okay for the moment. Oh, we've had another off. Somebody else has gone off there at the first corner, so we've got another off. I'm not sure who that is that's gone. I think that might be Louis Webster, potentially. He's got going again, whoever it is.
Last lap board is out.
Yep, last lap board is out for Dickinson, and he's done another fastest lap, a 49.689. So absolute meteoric dominance from Joe Dickinson. He's a full 8 seconds clear of the guys behind. Weston and Ward are still having this battle over second place.
Yeah, we've seen some great riding across the course of the day in terms of battling, but Joe Dickinson in this race really has shown everyone how to lead by example.
Well, Ward is still trying to get one over on Weston, and that race is going to go down to the wire, but out in front, it is that man, Joe Dickinson, who's been absolutely dominant all the way through this weekend. He comes out of the toe of the boot for the last time, and he is going to get the victory. 2 out of 2. Joe Dickinson romps to the double. Oh, superb racing. Fantastic. And in the final turn, Ward is going to try, but it's too late. Weston will get there first. Weston for second, Ward in third. Fourth for Blackburn, fifth for Ty Kinton, and who's going to get sixth? It will be the 23 of Goggins. It looks to me as though Gaz Roberts has fallen on the last lap. He's certainly drifted away from it all. So Goggins will get sixth position. Wow, a dramatic end to the weekend, but not for Joe Dickinson. Absolute dominance this time out.
Yep, just to emphasise, 7 of the fastest laps of this race belong to Joe Dickinson, and he only did 8.
That's absolutely amazing. Well, we'll give you some highlights of our very last race. Joe Dickinson, it was a walk in the park, basically. But for everyone else, there were some good fights out there. And a nice way to finish off British Mini Bikes here at Whilton Mill. 3 rounds to go, of course. So we'll be excited about how that's going to work out.
It's, I want to say Rara is up next.
Indeed
I'm
it
trying to
is.
think back to my calendar now. Rara, then...
Oh, you're going to love Rara.
I've not been to Rara before.
It's a wonderful, wonderful venue, actually. Here we go. There's final highlights. Ward very nearly got one over on Joe Dickinson at the start. That could have changed everything. But it was that man, Weston, who really started the attack on Ward. Blackburn was having a good run on Ty Kinton as well. There's the move on the inside of Weston. That was beautifully timed. And Blackburn managed to get Kinton at exactly the same moment. And this 6th place battle, it was going well for Gaz Roberts, but unfortunately for him, it would end up going the way of Joe Goggins, the 23. He would end up taking the 6th place finish. But a fantastic run. Let's look at it again. That was an attempted move, but I think on the last lap, the 212 sadly got caught out. But the victory goes to Joe Dickinson. Absolutely terrific. An absolutely amazing end. And I have to say, Jacob, 20 races at the British Mini Bikes here at Whilton Mill. Incredibly good fun.
Yep, a great spectacle, as always at BMB. Lovely warm afternoon here in Northamptonshire, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Well, thank you, Jacob. A massive thank you to all of the Alpha Live team. A huge thank you to Alan Lord and all the team here at British Mini Bikes and all the support staff. It's been a fantastic weekend. I've really enjoyed myself today, and hopefully that wasn't the last time. Enjoy the final 3 rounds of the championship. I sadly will not be there, but as we've seen from our classes, the end of the season should be absolutely spectacular. Thank you from Whilton Mill, and we'll see you next time out at Rowra.